Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Hopefully, everyone's having a good day and gonna have a great weekend ahead of you. Probably won't be on too long today, obviously, because, well, it's Friday and who wants to sit in front of their computer all day long after a long week? But are definitely some things to cover today. But title of the video: Short Squeeze in the Oversold Market, Pump Me Harder Market. That's exactly what's going on. So yeah, I mean, I'll say that kind of starting today, I kind of had some conflicting, I don't want to say conflicting views, but I wasn't necessarily on board with pumping the market this hard, but it's always kind of in the back of the mind. Really kind of leaned on Brandon's analysis today to start for the morning, and then kind of got into gear there. I wasn't really focused on the charts too much this morning pre-market. So to start the day, I was kind of a little bit more so just leaning on my buddy Brandon's kind of forecast and analysis for the day until head kind of got on straight. But anyways, again, market SPY. Again, if we see it all the way up into this price of 592.27, that's pretty normal stuff. Just because it's kind of the volume trend of the last sell move from Powell. So yeah, I mean, we're just really just pumping the market up. Again, we had a couple down days and the market's oversold, and we're just really bouncing it up, and it's really just taking hold, and we're just running it up. I don't think we're going to go too much further. Generally, we wouldn't expect a move like this to go up, then break out, again, the price of 59231, but I have been wrong about that before. I do remember there was one time like, yeah, we shouldn't go too much higher than that, and the thing just absolutely crushed through that. So again, I don't foresee it being, viable to really think we're going a whole lot higher than 592, 593 for today. Or at least right away. So, but yeah, you should just basically, be on the long side, at least up into that area at this point, And when I say long to that area, I mean, you're already kind of well underway on this long. But in terms of what I kind of see, happening is like arguably up into that point. I don't see much more of a long than that. And then there might also be a good top tick sell move in that area too. Yeah. I just don't look at the futures as much like that. I usually just anchor the ETF or SPX. And really just because I think it's just a little, I don't want to say it's cleaner. It works on the ETF, but what I ended up coming to find was I would anchor it on the ES, and the levels would be a little bit different, and then I'd have some different levels on the SPY, and then I'd have some different levels on the SPAC or on SPX. And it just kind of seemed like it was starting to cause a little bit of confusion for me, just because by looking at SPY, SPX, and ES, and they're all kind of a little bit different. It's not even it's just your zone just kind of becomes a little bit bigger, and they can all kind of play off their levels all at one time if they want to. Like, ES could get a little bit of action, SPX could get a little bit of action. So I just ended up coming up with so many different VWAPs that all kind of generally came close to the same price. So then it really just became like a bigger zone that I was watching. So I just naturally just stick with the ETF and SPX, mainly because the levels are going to be fairly close to begin with, and I just have always seemed to do well just looking alone at the ETF and SPX. So, anyways, market's pumping, market squeezing, that's all good. If you guys want to get like a view here, check this. I mean, these are the market internals today. You can see it's pretty much just straight up. Yeah. Oh yeah, here's a day where the gap Fibonacci didn't work, right? So, and I even actually mentioned this in our private group. I even said today, I'm like, guys, we're kind of oversold. This would be a day where we probably don't get the gap target, but since there's a gap, I'm always going to fib it out and watch it. But ultimately, today's a day where the market is kind of oversold, is coming down. This is a scenario where we'd be less likely to go and get a 161 target on the day as opposed to bounce. So, here's an example where we would run a fib and say, hey, we're going to be, looking naturally for the downside 161, which again almost hits, but we missed that, right? So it actually missed today, and you can see we reversed the market. So today's a day where you just kind of think about market's been sold off, couple days down, everyone's been shorting, right? So is it more logical to keep going down or at least try to bounce the market? So today was a day where it's more logical to try to bounce the market a bit. And so as a result, this would be a day where one of the strategies where we normally would look downside because there's a gap down, we're not going to listen to because there's other things that are trumping that for today. And that is just something that you can only learn over time through practice and usage of different strategies, right? Right. So that's just a day where I would naturally say we're not looking so much so for downside gap and go potential because of the oversold move. And so on and so forth. And not only that, I mean, I really couldn't, I can always come up with something usually, but like today was just a day when I woke up, I didn't put a whole lot of effort in looking at the market to start. I was actually really just kind of looking at Bitcoin stuff. And then I had a couple phone calls and stuff. So I wasn't really looking too aggressive at the market. So leading into the open, there just wasn't a particular support that I myself was watching or felt was right, you know? So that's why I was like, I'm just going to lean on what Brandon says today because it sounded like he had a pretty good idea of what was going to happen. So I was like, I'll just lean on what he's saying and go with what he's going with. And then as the day develops, I'll probably figure something on from there. But today was just a day where I'm like, I know the market's kind of oversold, but I just don't have like a support that I would normally look at, or it's, you know, one that I would normally be looking at or using. Nothing's just standing out, right? So that doesn't mean that it's not there. It just means I'm not the one that's found it, or I'm not seeing it. Thus, lean on Brandon, right? So, you know, today's a day where I'm like, I'm just not going to really look for that 161 downside for the most part because it's just a day where I think the market dynamics will trump that strategy. But anyway, so we rally up. That's good. We're really just resetting the sell trend right now to the volume weighted average price of the move. The market is still below the 50 SMA. So in theory, that means it could still be a pop to roll market. We're only going to really fully transition to the bull side when we get above. But today, what we're doing is an oversold bounce in a bearish move. And we are resetting, in my opinion. Others would just say other things, right? But for me, it would be we're just resetting the market back to the current sell signal trend, which would be something like that. Well, kind of a lot of stuff on there I don't need for the moment, but yeah. So we're just resetting the market, sell signal VWAP, which is that. So a lot of the good stuff has happened already today, obviously. That's how that normally goes. Moving over to Bitcoin. So looking at Bitcoin, these are my current targets up on Bitcoin for the moment. If we bring up Twitter, now, I know when we were on stream yesterday, we were looking at a short move down, talking about the targets down for Bitcoin. I don't know if I gave all the ones down or what, but if we go into Twitter, we can at least do a little bit of a review here. So this was last night somewhere here. All right, so this was last night. Now, you guys will know we talked about the markets going down. So these are all the targets down that I was following. So they'd be like 96, like 97,000 something, 95,600, down to 93,100. And there was even more that I had, but by that point, you'd just be adding so many different levels. It's like, of course they're going to hit. One of them's going to hit kind of thing. But anyways. So these are all the targets down last night as per the bullseyes and the levels down to 93,174. There was a couple other ones I had just below that, but it was like, you know, how many am I really going to throw on a chart? But as we were kind of coming in there, I figured, you know, there's probably some support there. Anyways, so those are all the targets hitting. Obviously, as the market's dumping, you know, who the F is dumping the market? That was pretty good. Or insane. Bitcoin is dumping hard, and here's our cute little bullseyes for the downside target. All right, so then we move into today, and today I got targets. This was posted 2 hours ago. which is basically just emphasizing the upside targets I'm looking at right now, about 99,000 and some change to 101,000 and some change. So those are the targets I'm looking back up now on Bitcoin. So, arguably we came into daily support here, ran to 4-hour resistance, and then sold it all the way down back to daily levels. Now bouncing daily levels back up, I think, to some 4 hours. So I'm arguably just looking for Bitcoin to go up now and go to the bullseyes. That's pretty much that. I think, I think those are going to be correct. And they could not be, but I think they're going to be fine. Never does the market always play super simple. So far, we've done pretty well over the past day or so, and hopefully it continues that way. So that'd be good. But yeah, as far as Bitcoin goes, we're again, I just think we're seeing. Oh wow, sorry. Again, I think we're just seeing a bottom. Right? Is the market really going to take out? Right? So we have this whole up move, bounce, whatever. Is the market really just going to go straight down through all of that, just like this, without bouncing? Usually not. So I figured, as we kind of came into, I wasn't really even looking at this stuff as support. It's really, I was looking at volume weighted average prices. And of course, they just line up with these previous lows. So it's really, is the market going to take out this support without a bounce? Usually not. So I think we're just doing a bounce to take the market back up somewhere like here, and then arguably that's where the market's then going to try another lower high. There's really no lower high in this chart. There was a micro one, like we said the other day. There was a micro higher low or lower high, just yesterday actually. But now it's really just down to probably back up, and then maybe a lower high roll. If there's no lower high to be found, then again we're just going to keep going up. Really, is the way, that's the way it works. The market doesn't really trade sideways. Even when it's trading sideways, it's just going up and down on a smaller time frame, right? So markets actually don't trade sideways. They trade up and down, whether bigger or smaller. They're just going like this, right? So ultimately, if we bounce and go up and find no resistance to roll us down on some of the bigger time frames, arguably, then generally markets just keep going up. So if we're not going down, we're going up on some time frame. So just looking for a bounce on the market on Bitcoin back up to then track down a new lower high. And the reason I say to track down a new lower high is because you kind of have to give the market the time of day first. I would love for the market just to go up. The lower high could totally fail and the market keep going up. But after we get a situation like this, the chart is set up in a way that there's probably enough people that would try to be bearish, or there's enough. You just have to look that way first, and then if that fails, then we can kind of continue the press. So anyways, those are the targets up for right now to here, and even this here, like this rally is a pretty nice rally. It's actually, they're doing an inverse pattern right here. Occasionally you see this, but not too often, where they almost flip-flop and mirror the exact same pattern of the market. So if you were to take, it's just kind of funny, if you take this leg and you flipped it backwards, then it really just becomes the next leg up. You see that? It's almost identical. It's not perfect, but this last leg down is really just this leg up flipped. So it's almost like a program just got turned on, instead of just mimic the market backwards. Occasionally you see that. It's kind of funny when you do. But anyways, so this has been a pretty solid move, right? There's really not a huge higher low off of this. So it's not as common to see a market just go straight up into your target, right? You usually get a pullback. So, that's the next little tidbit of information there, is we're probably looking at some sort of pullback on a smaller time frame, and then if we're successful, then we're going to rally up into that. All right. And so on and so forth. So that's kind of the Bitcoin target SPY. Let's see, we got up to about 592 there. Yeah, give or take, or whatever it was. Yeah, coming into the 592s. Stop it. Stop it. Oh, let me get some of this coffee before it goes cold. Perfect Tagra Magoo. So again, this is where you do got to be careful. It's 11.28. This could be interesting. I wonder if they're going to do a little shake and bake off this high. I wonder. Because, yeah, I mean, one second. I haven't read any of the comments. Sorry, guys. Let's see what. Is it a Christmas rally? I would love to short soon. I mean, I wouldn't call it a Christmas rally yet until we're in a long upsided trend. I just call it an oversold bounce. And currently the bulls, as per the YouTube thumbnail, we're really just kind of squeezing the shorts off the low right now. So this is all oversold metrics, bouncing market back up to basically screw with everyone who chased the short down. So what we're doing right now is taking out everyone who has chased the market too low on the sell side, right? Now, do remember, if you had entered short as soon as the market started the downtrend, you would be fine right now. You wouldn't even care, right? If you're someone who chases the market down, then you're pissed off, right? So remember, the downtrend where I'm pointing, that's where the downtrend started, right? So everyone chasing the market short down here is far away from when the downtrend actually started, right? So we have, and again, remember, we were streaming during the Jay Powell announcement. And from that point, we said, hey guys, the market's bearish. It's bearish. It's bearish. It's not bullish until it's back over the 30-minute. It's not bullish until we transition pot. It's not all these things. It's bearish, it's bearish, it's bearish. So, you know, from here to here, the market is down from the downtrend start. And this is, yeah, let's see. That was only a mere drop of $24.48 on the market. So the market was this morning, had hit a low down almost $25 a share from the start of the downtrend. Disregard Powell for a second. Disregard interest rate decisions for a moment. Let's say that never happened. Then the market would still be down almost $25 a share from the start of the downtrend, right? So should you arguably be looking to just crush a short on the downside here, or is it more likely that everyone chasing the move down gets squeezed up, right? So we're doing the squeeze up, and yeah, that's that. And what we've done here is we have reset the market to the 30-minute. So let's just delete all this off the chart. Let's think in terms of price structure. So you see how resistance was created here. All right? You see how there's tops right here, right? So the normal go-to simple technical analysis would be there's resistance, so when you get through it, you're breaking out resistance. So, you know, like you'd be breaking out, right? So if you just simply look at the chart, and I'll put this on a 30-minute here. So if you even like look at a 30-minute, someone might draw and be like, this was resistance, but now we're getting through it, so it's not, so on and so forth, right? So totally true. I just add a little more on top of it, and I would say to myself something like this. This is where the volume weighted average price is of the pretty much the sell move, right? So yes, we may be getting through these previous little tops here, but this is the volume weighted average price of the sell move, right? So effectively, we know it's just a concept for knowing where the market can kind of shift at and so on. It's another way of knowing a shift point. But it's just simply to say that that's the current 30-minute selling trend. And until we really get above that, then then the market can still stay down, all these things. And so it's pretty much this. Ready? I'll just draw it. It's this. Or, which sounds dumb, right? It sounds, oh, market can go up or it can go down, right? It sounds really dumb saying it, but I mean, that's the truth, which is, it's just another rule that I follow. So You're bearish the trend, so you're not bullish until you're over the 30-minute. But in terms of volume-weighted average pricing, when we get through the 30-minute VWAP, a lot of times we'll reset the 50 SMA. So it's kind of a way to be long bias before the trend, as far as the SMA trend, flips positive. Anyways, I'm speaking too much. You guys get the point. So market's just squeezing up. We're still bearish below the SMA trend, so it's just an oversold bounce. That's all. Hold on one second. Let me get... Yep, Cooks, yep. What's hilarious is most of the retail was foaming near the highs on Bitcoin and overall market, but now that it's pulled back, no one wants to buy. Yeah, that's generally how it goes. I actually just got another text message this morning from another buddy I golf with on an annual golf trip. Well, it's actually, I got invited this year, so it'd only be the first time, so it's not annual for me, but for them. But anyways, guy that I met there that I've played with since. Anyways, yeah, he texted me this morning and says, basically, what do I think of XRP? So I got another person texting me this morning about XRP, right? So, and the reason is because that it got smoked off the high. So now there's a little bit of nervousness coming, and he wants, and it's the, it's seeking out reassurance that things are okay, right? And of course I, sent him some stuff, and I said, XRP ran into +3, +4. This is generally where we tell people that you've hit resistance and you can take profit and you can sell. Does it go higher? Maybe. The thing's up however many percents, right? So it's just one of those it's just the psychology of it, right? Just that natural psychology, right? We're getting high in that cycle. But yeah, so as far as Bitcoin goes, like I said, I got those targets up into this area for the time being. And then obviously I have targets that are higher than that as well, but I'm just not willing to give those out yet because I would first like to see the shorter term targets hit and see what the reaction is around there before I then announce anything higher than there for now. So, yeah. And so here's the other thing too is, yeah, as far as, retail being excited at the highs, yeah, everyone's excited. I'm excited, right? I get to see my accounts go up more and so on and so forth. So, yeah, everyone gets excited, when you see that, and everyone gets a little fearful on the downside. I've become significantly, I wouldn't say I'm immune to moves, but the downside fears help, or it's your fear of downside action is less dramatic when you're arguably forecasting downside to begin with, right? So when you look and you go, oh yeah, market can go down here, you're not really nervous or scared when it goes down there. You're just like, oh yeah, it makes sense. It did what we thought it would do, right? So when you start being able to see markets that way, you do become a lot less fearful in that regard because it's like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, we went down to 93,000. Yeah, totally, right? For someone who has no clue that could happen, they're like, oh my God, the world's ending. So, yeah, it definitely is fearful when you're seeing stuff go down, especially when you buy and it's not appreciating. You're like, what the hell? And then you go on Twitter and you see, 16,000 different accounts that are telling you it's gonna pump to the moon, and XRP is the greatest thing in the world, and it's gonna go to a $6 trillion market cap. And everything sounds so great, and then when it doesn't come true, you're like, what the hell, right? It's like your whole world's been blown up. It's like everything you've read was, holy grail. And then 2 weeks from now, it's down 10%. You're like, what happened? So yeah, it can be a little nerve-wracking. But we did just get, what did this go on sale? Probably like 10%? I don't know. This just went on sale 15% from the high. 14. Wait, 15. Yeah. Yeah, we just went on sale 15%. From that move there. Whoa, no, no, no. Come back, come back. You must hoarder your Bitcoin. Hoarder. Oh, dude, I should totally create a hotkey for that. I'm about to. Watch this. I can do this so quick now. Actually, I can't really do that quick. But let's see what ChatGPT can do for us on this. Yeah, so Bitcoin's had in the past. I mean, if we look at the past, right? So let's go back to the past just for a minute. Let's go to a weekly time frame. Oh, man. I mean, look at this pullback in here. This one was probably like 20%. So from the high down. So like, let's see. This one here was 31%. Even these little guys in here were probably 10%ers. Let's see. So like this one here was, that was 17%. 16, 17%. Go back to the previous cycle here. We had a couple nice knee jerks here. Even in this one, you had, that was 39%. That's also when it was cheap. You know, I don't want to call it cheap, and that really wasn't cheap, but that was 30%. 39%. This one was 39%. And this one here was 29%. 39, 39, 29, 16, 31, and we just hit a 15. So we just did like this one where we did a 16%er. I mean, but even though I don't think that the timing is different, don't think that this is like not now. I mean, this was below an all-time high. I mean, it's a little bit different, but yeah, we just did a 16 or a 15, right? Let's just double check it. Yeah, make 15%. We just did 15. Shit, it could be more. I foresee it could be even more than that. But first we got to bounce it. Would make sense, right? Again, the other thing too is like, sure, if it wants to go lower, it can go lower, but it just in the immediate would just make it, just the micro made sense to bounce, you know. Where are we at with, oh, Bitcoin to 594. All right, I'm just gonna call it now. We're going to the 50 SMA, folks. We might as well just blast this thing all the way to the 50 SMA today, because just why not? Actually, before I say that, well, we're going to do the upper distribution. We probably already did the upper distribution. Well, the upper distribution is going to take us to 597. So there's a good chance we go, honestly, 597, even 598.50s today on this boy to the upside. Yeah, basically the way I'd state it is, you know, as long as the market is now over the price of 592.34 on the SPY, then 597's activated. And we already reset the SPX one pretty good. So we should really be targeting the 50 SMA and the SPX first because that comes in prior to the SPY. And we probably already did the upper distribution here. Yeah, so we're arguably going to take this guy into 598, 5,984.07 now. It would be sick. I mean, I don't know. Come on, internet, let's just do it. Why not? Just give everyone a nice green solid here. The risk would basically be a pullback back to 592.34. So if we don't just straight boom out all the way into 597 to 598.61 now, then the risk would just be a pullback down to 592.34. So it's like that's the risk of pullback, and then the reward of the follow through would be into like here. Little kind of facade as you have the SPX target here that you'd have to deal with first and so on and so forth. But yeah, so we'll see. Again, we've already done a crazy squeeze here. So it's like, do we keep going? Probably. So yeah, that's good stuff. But anyways, I'm gonna have a little bit of fun myself here because again, there's really nothing to do but to just sit back, giggle, and laugh and watch the squeeze. Something else I didn't really think about that we do got to pay attention to though is you got to look at. So this was something else you got to be careful about. So I might have jumped the gun there because we are coming into this VIX 30 minutes. So if the market tries to give the VIX some love here, it would prevent the continued run. Simultaneously, if we don't find any support here, then that would be the VIX volatility at least breaking below its 30-minute, and that could then help the market go. So the only way I can say is the market on the VIX is positive here, up, crash down to the 30-minute. If there's no 30-minute bounce, then that means the 30-minute uptrend is starting to fail. Sometimes they'll break it down and then they could bring it back. Those are all the nuances, but the simple thing to say is just thinking of trend. And trend would be above is positive and below is negative. If we get negative, that would then be a little bit of a mini catalyst for the market in itself to keep boosting this thing higher. You'd almost assume the VIX wants to bounce though. So, but like I said, I remember in the past there was a scenario like this and I thought there'd be a bounce on the VIX and there wasn't. It just drained out. So either way, you guys got the full scope of what we tanking. See, I'm gonna have a little bit of fun here. Yeah, the VIX is just draining, But like I said, it's we gotta break down the VIX to continue the long press. So what I could also see happening here, and again, I'm not really, it's just kind of waiting on it to kind of show its true colors here, but if we bounce the VIX, what's going to happen is we're going to do the back test. We're going to, again, if we can bounce the 30-minute, so this is what's going to happen. If we bounce the VIX 30-minute, we're probably back testing 592.34. If the VIX is just like, nah, I'm going to keep draining, then we can go get the expected targets on the upside. So it's kind of a, double-sided edged sword there. I'm sorry, but it just kind of is what it is. Yeah. So I'm not sure about NVO. Yeah, I really don't. Not focused on it by any means. What is that? Oh. Yikes. Yeah, I know Ozempic's like a big thing, but I'm not really sure what. what's going on with that. Yep, fun stuff. Yeah, again, I know we've already pretty much covered. Again, there's really not a whole lot to be saying here. Just a squeeze day, resetting the markets. But again, like I said, yeah, you do want to keep an eye on the VIX now, being at this, like, whatever price we're at, 1794s. That's interesting. Oh, the 1 minute. Yeah, so we're catching some resistance on the 1 minute upper distribution target, actually. It's kind of funny. You get that every once in a while. Buffett loaded up on Oxy. Yeah, so honestly, I was just going to do a quick stream. Just really want to pop on for a Friday. Just going to give you guys some small updates on what's going on. But I'm going to be starting this weekend pretty soon here. But yeah, just want to come on, kind of show you guys some of the targets we're thinking on the upside for Bitcoin. That could arguably even get a little bit higher. Just kind of depends. As far as the SPY, again, we can see the SPY again all the way up into the prices of 598 potentially today. It's an oversold, short squeeze, bounce. The volatility index right now is at the 30-minute over-under support, which basically just means the VIX is trying to, stay. I don't want to say it's trying to. It's just a matter of does it or does it not. And that's for you to decide. Right? So we are at the 30-minute trend. That's why you're getting a little bit of a wick, because we're into the 30-minute trend. Obviously, if we flip this negative, that's going to give us, that's just going to help the market go up further. So over the next couple days, I'm going to say over the next couple days, what you're looking for is you're just looking for a trade that if you want to be long the market, time a breakdown of the VIX and you'll win. Okay. If you wanted to pick a top to short on the market, then you want this VIX to hold and bounce, and if we bounce, then you could start looking little rolls on the market. So if you're someone's like, I'm going to short the market, well, right now is not a bad time to even think about it, because, you could arguably bounce. But if say we bounce, and then it's Monday that we break down the VIX, Monday we're looking long the market because the VIX is breaking down, right? So that's all I'm saying, is it's just an over-under that can be used for the market. So if the VIX holds the 30-minute going into next week, we're going to use the VIX breakdown next week to long the market. It can happen now, it can happen then, whenever it happens. If you're in the trade, you're not in the trade. It's just, again, that's it. So you see how you see how it's wicking right here? Right, you go into a 1 minute. Right there. How did I know? How did he know? How did he know? It's a rinse and repeat system. Okay. So anyways, there's your 30-minute VIX holding support, right? Remember I said I think I may have jumped the gun on telling everyone the market's just going to go straight up into that price, and that was because, I'm just talking of things that I know can happen, but until I actually use my brain for a second, right? And now we go look at the market, and where's the market, right? Market's rolling over, and where we're going? Down to this 59246. So I might as well just put a bullseye on the screen for everyone, because it's the only way people believe it. So we're probably going down close to that area, to that bullseye. And I would say a lot of that's contributed to the fact that we're using the 30-minute trend to bounce the VIX and stop the move down. And in the immediate, that's going to result in the market's probably pulling back some. And now I'm just looking at a level where I think we could get to. So we'll see. But anyways, this little pullback, I got a bullseye down there. And the only reason I'm saying this is because it's pretty common that the market back tests the 30-minute volume weighted average price breakout. Not all the time, but it's pretty common. And then again, as long as the market is above up to here is activated. So that's the way I read that. Is this is a breakout, and then anything above this is up to here. All right. So I'm gonna leave you guys with that. Let you guys get to your weekend early. Because I'm gonna do that. I don't know. I might. I think I do some Christmas shopping today. Some last minute Christmas shopping stuff. And I think I'm gonna go hit some golf balls. Sounds like a good time. Maybe golf balls and like a beer or two. That sounds good. So anyways, you guys have a great weekend. If I guess I don't see any of you guys on the stream next week, I have no idea what my schedule's going to look like next week. I just usually play stuff by ear sometimes. So next week, not really sure what the schedule's going to look like with all the family dinners and events and this and that. I have a lot of family. I have my family, my wife's family. You know, she's got a couple families, so we're always bouncing around doing something. So anyways, happy holidays to you guys. Merry Christmas. And I'll see you next week and into the new year and so on and so forth. All right, guys, take care and have a good weekend.